The moment my sister screamed, "You're not welcome here," in front of 200 guests, I didn't argue. I didn't cry. I didn't even speak. I just smiled, turned around, and walked away. Then I pulled out my phone and made one silent call. An hour later, her dream wedding was canceled. Hi, my name is Madison. I'm 29 years old. I own a luxury event business in my city. I plan weddings, birthday parties, and big events for rich people. But what most people don't know, not even my family, is that I secretly bought the most popular wedding venue in town 2 years ago. I used a different business name, and I never told anyone it was mine, not even my little sister Leah. Now, let me take you back and tell you why I did what I did. When I was 14, our mom passed away. Our dad had already left us years before that. So at 14, I became the only person left to take care of my baby sister. Leah was only 7. She cried every night, and I used to sing to her until she fell asleep. I cooked for her. I packed her school lunch. I even worked small jobs just to buy her shoes and books. I gave up everything for her. When I turned 18, I didn't go to university right away. I stayed home and worked so Leah could finish school first. When she got into college, I paid her school fees with the little money I made from cleaning houses and working late-night shifts. Did she ever say thank you? No, not even once. Still, I didn't complain. I loved her. I wanted her to have a good life. After she graduated, I used my connections to help her get her first job. Then I introduced her to Jason, the man she's now marrying. Yes, I introduced them. Jason was one of my clients, and Leah happened to meet him at a party I planned. From the moment they started dating, Leah changed. She started acting like she was better than me. She would say things like, "Ugh, Madison, you wouldn't understand rich people stuff." Or, "When I get married, I'm never living in a tiny apartment like yours." It hurt, but I stayed quiet. She called me boring, plain, and even told people that I would probably never find a husband. Still, I smiled through it all. When Jason proposed, Leah screamed so loud, I thought she would break the windows. She ran to me crying and said, "You have to help me plan the wedding. You're the best at this stuff." And I did. I helped her book the venue. I helped her choose the flowers. I gave her a huge discount. Because guess what? The venue she picked was actually mine. But she didn't know that. She thought I was just helping with bookings, like always. I gave the instructions quietly to my assistant and stayed in the background. I wanted her day to be perfect. But even while I was helping her, she kept being mean. She would say, "Make sure the flowers look expensive. I don't want this wedding to look like something you planned." Or, "Don't forget, this is a high-class wedding, Madison, not one of your little basic setups." It felt like knives in my heart, but I said nothing. I tried to remind myself, this is my baby sister. I raised her. I love her. I want her to be happy. But deep down, something was breaking inside me. I had spent my whole life putting Leah first, and all she ever gave me was disrespect. Still, I kept working on her wedding as if nothing was wrong. I watched her try on wedding dresses. I helped her pick out the cake. I even drove her to 3 different stores in one day just to find the perfect shoes. And do you know what she said? She said, "You're lucky you're around me, Madison. If not, you'd have no taste at all." That day, I went home and cried. Not because of what she said, but because I finally realized
No matter how much I loved her, no matter how much I gave up for her, she would never respect me. I started to feel something I hadn't felt before. Not sadness, not disappointment. I felt something sharp, something cold. Revenge. But I didn't do anything yet. I waited. I watched her treat me like a servant. I smiled while she pushed me around, because I knew something she didn't. I owned her wedding. Every chair, every flower, every light hanging from the ceiling, it all belonged to me. And if she pushed me too far, I could take it all away in seconds. Still, I hoped she wouldn't. I hoped somehow she would see me, not as her helper, not as her older sister who's always in the background, but as someone who deserved to be loved too. That hope stayed inside me until the wedding week began. That's when everything changed.
The wedding week was supposed to be full of joy and excitement, but for me, it felt like I was walking through a storm with no umbrella. Every day, Leah treated me worse than the day before. "Madison, hold my dress," she snapped on Monday, tossing her heavy wedding gown into my arms without even looking at me. "Madison, go pick up the cake," she shouted on Tuesday while she sat with her friends doing her nails. "Madison, why are you so slow? Can't you do anything right?" she barked on Wednesday while I carried 10 boxes of decorations to the venue. My venue. I didn't say a word. I just nodded and did what she asked, because I wanted peace. I didn't want to ruin her wedding, but it was getting harder to smile. My heart felt like it had 1,000 cracks, and every word she said was making them bigger. One evening I arrived early at the venue to check on the lighting. I had told my staff to give the best quality, the brightest lights, the most beautiful flowers. As I walked past the hallway, I heard laughter coming from the dressing room. It was Leah and her bridesmaids. I was about to greet them when I heard my name. "Ugh, Madison is so embarrassing," one of the bridesmaids said. "Did you see the way she dressed yesterday? She looked like a sad teacher," another one laughed. "She always looks tired and boring," someone else added. "No wonder no man wants her." I stood frozen by the door. Then Leah said something I'll never forget. "She's just jealous of me, always has been. I mean, I'm getting married to a rich man, and she's still single, broke, and ugly." The girls burst out laughing, and I felt like someone had poured cold water over me. I slowly walked away, making sure they didn't hear me. I didn't want to give them the satisfaction of knowing I heard. When I got home that night, I sat on the floor and stared at the wall. The room was quiet, but my mind was loud. I remember how I used to hold Leah when she cried as a child, how I skipped meals so she could eat, how I worked 2 jobs so she could go to school. Was I really that worthless to her? Was I nothing more than a tool to be used and tossed aside? I wiped my tears and looked at myself in the mirror. "No, Madison, you are not weak, you are not ugly, you are not a failure. You are the reason she even has this dream wedding, and she has no idea how powerful you truly are." The next morning, Leah sent me a text. "Make sure you don't wear anything nice to the wedding. It's my day. I don't want you outshining me." I stared at my phone in disbelief. She didn't even say please. It wasn't a request. It was an order, like I was some unwanted servant at her event. I typed out a reply. "Don't worry, I won't wear anything nicer than the bride." But I was done feeling small. I walked to my closet and pulled out a dress I had bought 2 years ago but never wore. It was black, simple, elegant, and it hugged my body in all the right places.
It wasn't flashy, it wasn't loud, but it was beautiful. Just like me. I smiled and laid the dress on my bed. If she was going to treat me like nothing, I would show her exactly who she had been ignoring all along. The next day was rehearsal day. Leah had forgotten to tell me it was starting early, but I showed up anyway because I always kept things organized. When I got there, I found Leah screaming at the florist because one flower was missing. "Do I have to do everything myself?" she yelled. I stepped in and handled the issue. The florist nodded and said, "Thanks, Madison. I wish more brides had sisters like you." Leah rolled her eyes and whispered to one of her friends, "She just wants attention. She can't stand when I'm the center of the spotlight." By now, her words didn't sting as much. I had heard enough. I kept thinking about that one phone call I could make, the one that would end everything, but I wasn't ready yet. Not until she gave me a reason. That night, I stared at the ceiling, thinking about my mom. If she were alive, what would she say? Would she tell me to be strong? Would she say I was doing the right thing? Or would she cry, seeing how her daughters had become strangers? I missed her so much. But I knew one thing. She would never want me to be treated like trash. She would want me to stand up for myself. She would want me to remember who I am. The day before the wedding arrived, everything was set. The chairs were lined up, the cake was delivered, the tables were decorated with white roses and gold candles. It looked perfect because I made it perfect. Leah walked in and said, not bad. Try not to mess anything up tomorrow." I gave her a small smile and walked away. I didn't need her approval. I didn't need her praise. I just needed her to show me a little respect. But she never would. And the next day, she would make one final mistake. One that would change everything. The morning of the wedding came. The sky was clear, the sun was bright, and the air smelled like flowers and fresh cake. Everything was perfect, just the way Leah wanted. And all because of me. I had spent weeks making sure this day would be flawless. I made sure the lights were hung perfectly, the music was ready, the flowers were fresh and full, the food was warm and waiting. I arrived at the venue early, dressed in my black gown. It was soft, simple, and elegant. It didn't shine or sparkle. It didn't even have lace or glitter. But when I looked in the mirror, I felt strong. For once, I wasn't dressing to hide. I was dressing to be seen. I walked into the room and said hello to the guests arriving. Some of them smiled at me. Some nodded. One old family friend even said, "You look lovely, Madison." It felt good. For a moment, I forgot about all the pain Leah had caused me. For a moment, I thought maybe this day could go smoothly. But that moment didn't last long. I walked into the main hall to check the decorations one last time when I heard heels clicking fast behind me. It was Leah. Her face was red. Her makeup was already ruined from sweat. And her eyes were full of fire. "What are you wearing?" she shouted. I blinked, confused. "Excuse me? I told you not to wear anything nice. You're trying to make me look bad." I looked around. People had stopped talking. Heads turned. All eyes were on us. "I'm not trying to do anything," I said quietly. "This is just a black dress." She stepped closer, pointing at me. "You did this on purpose. You want people to look at you. You're so jealous of me. You've always been jealous. I felt something inside me snap. Jealous? I whispered. After everything I've done for you? You didn't do anything, she yelled. I worked hard for this day. You're not even in the wedding party. You don't belong here. Gasps filled the room. Silence fell. And then she screamed the words that would change everything. You're not welcome here, Madison. Get out! I stood still. My hands were cold. My heart was beating fast. But I didn't cry. I didn't yell back. I didn't even blink. I slowly looked around the room. Everyone was staring. Some were shocked. Some looked sad. A few even seemed to agree with her. But I didn't care anymore.
I gave her 20 years of my life. I gave her my love, my money, my time, my strength, and now she threw me out like garbage. So I smiled. I gave her a soft, quiet smile. Then I turned around and walked out of the wedding hall. I could still hear her behind me, ranting, telling people not to talk to me, calling me names, but I didn't turn back. Outside, the air felt cool, peaceful, like the universe was finally on my side. I took out my phone and called one number. The call rang once. Then my manager answered. "Hi, Miss Madison, is everything okay?" I spoke one sentence. Cancel everything under the Johnson Lane reservation, effective immediately. There was a pause. "Are you sure?" "I'm sure," I said. "Pull everything." He didn't ask more questions. He just said, "Understood." And that was it. I stood by the garden wall, watching the sky change colors as the afternoon sun hit the trees. I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel sad. I felt free. Inside, I could already hear people asking questions. The music stopped. The lights began to flicker. One by one, the staff started packing up decorations and unplugging equipment. Someone rushed out of the hall in a panic, then another, then a whole group. I heard someone yell, "Why is the cake being moved?" Another voice cried out, "The servers are leaving. What's going on?" Leah came running out, still in her wedding dress, shouting, "What are you doing? Why is everything shutting down?" The manager stepped forward and said calmly, "Please take it up with the venue owner." Leah's eyes grew big. "Who is the owner? I want to talk to them right now." He smiled gently. "You already have." She looked confused. "What do you mean?" Then someone in the crowd shouted, "Check Instagram." Phones came out, cameras started rolling, a video popped up. Someone had already posted it. And there I was, a clip of me walking out of the wedding calmly in my black dress, phone in hand. Under it, a caption read, "Venue owner shuts down bride's wedding after being kicked out by her own sister." #wedding drama. The video zoomed in on my face. Someone whispered loudly, "Wait, she owns the venue?" Gasps filled the crowd. All eyes turned to Leah, and for the first time ever, she had nothing to say. Leah stood there, frozen in shock. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. People were whispering all around her. She kicked out the woman who paid for everything? She didn't know her sister owned the venue? I would die of shame if I did that. Leah's hands were shaking. Her face was pale. The manager stepped beside her and said again, "You'll need to speak with the venue owner about this cancellation." "But she's my sister," Leah shouted. "Maybe you should have treated her like one," someone muttered in the crowd. Leah turned, trying to find Jason, her groom, but he was already walking away from the crowd. He looked angry. His parents were behind him, talking quietly, looking embarrassed. "Jason! Jason, wait!" Leah called out, running after him in her big white dress. He stopped and turned.
I just found out she owns the place, okay? She's being dramatic. She's ruining our wedding."
"You did," Jason said.
"What? No, I didn't."
"I watched the whole thing," he said firmly. "You screamed at your sister. You humiliated her. And now you're shocked she's standing up for herself?"
"But it's my wedding," Leah cried.
Jason took a deep breath. "Yeah, and now it's over." She gasped.
"What are you saying?"
"I'm saying I can't marry someone so cruel. You told me she was just your bossy big sister. You never told me she raised you. You lied." "Jason, please don't do this." Leah's voice cracked. She reached out to grab his hand, but he stepped back. "I can't do this, Leah. Not after what I saw today." And just like that, he turned and walked away. Leah fell to her knees right there in the parking lot. Her dress was dirty. Her makeup was ruined. Her hands trembled. People were recording her. Live streams were everywhere. The moment was going viral, and fast. I stood quietly at the edge of the garden, watching everything unfold. I wasn't smiling. I wasn't laughing. I wasn't clapping. I just felt still, like my heart had finally stopped running. Leah looked up and saw me. Our eyes met. She stood up slowly and walked toward me. "You did this," she said. Her voice was low and shaky. "You wanted to ruin me." "No," I said calmly. "You ruined yourself." "I didn't know it was your venue." "That's not the point, Leah," I said. "You've treated me like trash for years. You've mocked me, insulted me, used me." "I didn't mean—" "I meant every word," I cut in. "You said I was jealous, ugly, worthless."
"I was just stressed," she whispered.
"Now," I said, staring her in the eyes, "you were cruel." She started crying. "Please, Madison, I've lost everything. Can you undo this?" I took a breath. "No." Her lips trembled. "I gave you everything," I said softly, "and you gave me nothing. You kicked me out in front of everyone. So I left, and I took my venue with me." She covered her face with her hands and sobbed, but I didn't move. I had spent too many years crying behind closed doors. Today, the tears weren't mine. I walked away, back to my car, leaving her behind in her white dress that no longer mattered. A few days later, my phone wouldn't stop ringing. News blogs were talking about the wedding that got canceled mid-ceremony. People online were calling me the silent queen of revenge. Some said I was cold, others said I was strong. But most people, they said I did the right thing. Even strangers were messaging me things like, "You're the sister we all wish we had. Thank you for showing the world how to take back your power without violence. You didn't scream, you didn't fight, you just walked away. That's powerful." I read each message with tears in my eyes, not because I wanted revenge anymore, but because finally someone saw me. For the first time, people saw the woman I had always been. Strong, smart, kind, capable. I didn't need to raise my voice to be powerful. I didn't need to hurt someone to get justice. I just needed to remember who I was and act like it.